So now you have like, let's say, a month of getting to know each other before you go to the family and say, hey, this is my girlfriend, this is someone I'm going to marry, whatever, right? Now you have a month. In that month, what information are you going to share with that person about your family that will cover everything they need to know to a point where they're never going to have questions?
Okay, personally, a month is too
That was
short
a
for
good.
me. But in that space, the first question I'm going to ask the person is, I want to know how the person perceive Africa and what the person think of Africa. I want to get in a view the person's perspective about Africa and their culture, so that I'll be able to, personally, before I even start passing my own ideas, I need to see what I can, get the person to unlearn and learn. Then I'll start talking about our culture, family expectation, how women should carry themselves, and any other thing I think that is necessary about my family. That's how I see it personally.
Sorry, I don't want to prolong the topic. Just a quick question, okay? So I agree 1000% what you're saying, Philip. The only thing that I want to know, like I want to ask. So based on the introduction you give your girl and you tell her about, your family and what they should expect, do you not think that in the near future you will encounter something else that you have to explain? Not even some things that you have to explain. Also, another thing, even with dating within the culture, we have to explain ourselves already. Dating within the culture, even being family, living together, we have to explain ourselves sometimes. Living together. Do you think a person that's not in the culture, you explain them everything in that little brief? You don't think they'll have questions for a long time?
They will.
That's all we're trying to say. That's all. Come see.
With Liz, like you guys are saying, Liz and Gracie are trying to say that you have to be proactive in setting those expectations explain those expectations to your partner. It's very difficult to be proactive and explain everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes you have to wait for something to happen. And
Yes.
in that,
Yes.
when something happens, the impression has already been formed in the family, and you can't control that. So maybe that's where pressure will come, trying to
Yes,
manage being proactive
ma'am.
and avoiding any negative impressions that will arise from, somebody
Mm-hmm.
not meeting expectations. So
Mm-hmm.
Philip, there is pressure. My thing is, because things continuously unfold, I mean, there's so many things, so many cultural expectations, in different stages of relationships and marriage and, situations in marriage. What would put pressure on me if I was dating somebody from a different culture
Mm-hmm.
is if they started to have opinions
Hey,
about my culture
and they will.
and it turns into a on an unpleasant conversation where I feel like I have to justify either my parents' expectations and manage what my partner wants. Does that make sense?
I
Mm-hmm.
get.
Well
I.
said.
I be.
Well
I. Be,
said.
I agreed. I agree. I agree on that. Like, having a question is not a bad thing. Having a question is not a bad thing. Having an opinion is not a bad thing. But I'm looking at it like Kamsi mentioned initially. Having an open mind. If you are having an opinion and you strongly stand with the opinion without an open mind of accepting what is culturally right in my culture, that's where the problem comes in. And that's where you need to know from start, at some point in your relationship before you move further, if if it's the kind of person that was going to accept this moving forward. So that's where the pressure might come in. So yeah.
There, we agree. We're trying to get. Gracie, I was saying this. You guys were all saying the same thing. Sometimes it's just the timeline of when you're trying to apply these things might be different, and then it sounds like you're all saying different things. But Kamsi said something about like your brother dating someone for 5 years. How do African parents react? Because at first they don't want you to date, right? They don't want you
Yeah.
to have a boyfriend. They don't want to have a girlfriend because they know what goes on when you're dating. Even though they like to act like they don't know.
I don't know what goes on when you're dating, but yeah,
in
I'm
in
open to learn.
African oh I beg, in African households we are all virgins in the world. Like, everyone is a virgin. Even if you are like 50, you are a virgin. If you didn't
Even
introduce
our
someone, you're
parents
not
are
married.
virgin after kids, after children, because they don't accept that they
Exactly.
do.
Oh,
Have you ever seen your parents kiss?
Where?
Yeah,
Kelsey,
I
you
have.
have.
yeah.
My
I was 20 something years old, like 23, 24. I saw them kiss, and that was in the US when the vow renewal, when they turned 25 years of marriage, and they did a vow renewal at church, and I saw them kiss. That was one of the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen in my life. And that's because they have lived all of their life showing, like, sex is not good for you, like you will die, this and this, like having all those conversations are typically you see parents in the Western world having with their children whenever they're growing up, like dating. They will never sit you down and say, oh yeah, if you want to date someone, make sure you look for this type of person. They will say, oh, you're dating someone, okay, where is her family from, or where is his family from, who are his people, what kind of job do they do. They only look at things that would like qualify them as, or they belong to a certain class, or they have this level of respect, all of that, instead of like you being with someone that will meet your goals, who meet your values, someone who will actually take care of you. I've never seen African parents actually care about those kind of things. They only care about the class where the person belongs, the type of family the person comes from,
their reputation.
the reputation.
You
Hmm.
know, it
Comes in.
okay, I've heard, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that certain tribes in Nigeria prefer to marry, within the tribe.
Absolutely.
And I would guess that the reason for that is because one of cultural expectations, and then two, is it stereotypes of what a different tribe does. So I think in a sense, that is a way of, if a parent says, oh, where is this person from? That's their way of trying to understand what type of person is this, is your partner, what is their upbringing, at least the best way that they know how to get a picture of who this person is. So I agree with you, but I think that's their best way of painting a mental picture of, okay, or preparing your mind
Mm-hmm.
to understand who our partners are. At least my parents can't do that with me because I talk a lot. And and very early on, I think my grandparents are expecting me to date within my village. But again, it's because that's what they know.
That's
Do you
very
guys?
interesting. Oh, Gracie.
No, I was gonna ask a question. Do you guys think all of these things that we've experienced are based off? They just, I guess, do you guys think? Because we can't. Do you think they just want us to have the best marriage possible? I don't know. I don't know if
Do you think? Oh, is your question? Are they coming up? Are they making up these things to satisfy their own, like,
not their own
or do they
needs,
want the
but
best?
or do you think they want the best for us, but they're not? They're not going the best way about it, according to us. What do you guys think? They. I think our parents truly do want the best for us, but the approach is probably not the best. What do you guys think? Do you guys think
It's just, I think it's a knowledge gap of a thing, and it's just basically what
that's
they
true?
know.
That's true.
Like Kamsi said, it's what they know. And I feel so bad sometimes because this idea of what it should be from their own knowledge has caused so much harm within African marriages. And if you look at a whole lot of things happening in Africa today, especially let's say Nigeria, the rate of divorce when you see people that have, especially when women that have seen things that have sensed that they can be free from some certain kind of things,
Mm-hmm.
how they embrace divorce now, the rate is growing
Mm-hmm.
so high because so many people, just to please their parents, just to meet the expectation, are meant to accept what they are not comfortable with. And at the end of it, they know that this is not what works for them
Mm-hmm.
and they want to get off it. So it's
I agree.
bad. To them, that's what they know.
Hmm.
And that's why most of our African parents, they are not comfortable with some things with us. This is a very big conversation because it goes beyond even dating. It goes to sex education.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some things that they would have taught us when we are growing up that we would have learnt the better way. But because they were not comfortable having those kind of conversation with us, we tend to learn it from the wrong persons.
Mm-hmm.
And suppose when you don't get lucky, and you don't you get exposed to the wrong crowd, and it affects the person going, and also because of those and that has even created a way that we there's this, this form of um lie that we naturally tell them, just for you to protect, your reputation with them, and
Mm-hmm.
for you to protect some things, you just tend to lie to them just for them to feel comfortable. There's some conversation you will not have with them.
Mm-hmm.
So these are some of the problems. So that's why when you meet some of, it's not even about educated parents, but if you have parents that use that relationship from young age with their kids growing up, and they have that kind of relationship, it
Mm-hmm.
helps at least to open up to them and tell them some things. Yes, they can advise, they do have the expectation, but African, there are some things we can't do. That's why the new generation of parents that came from well-respected home can do better in all those things. So that's what they know. Arranged marriage, they will know that, okay, I get to love the person.
Mm-hmm.
Domestic violence. It's not only on the female side. Men also undergo domestic violence. They'll tell you, as an African parent, they'll tell you that as a man, you are not supposed to show emotional and vulnerability,
Emotion.
weakness, and all those stuff. Men go through, mental abuse
Mm-hmm.
and all those stuff. So just because you're a man, you have to stick to it and be a man. No. So there should be some of those, conversations to have all those kind of things. So it's just a knowledge gap on all those things, and it's so sad.
I agree.
So yeah, I think we could do better. I think we can't enlighten them. They feel they know more than us, but
Mm-hmm.
you cannot teach them now. But the only way
Okay.
you can do them is through emotional intelligence to guide them through it a little bit. Yeah.
I agree.
I think I agree with you to some degree. My parents are very traditional,
Mm-hmm.
both Igbo. They literally came to the US 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents grew up in the village, so very traditional. I had the privilege of coming. I've lived in Canada, I've lived here as well. I did like high school in Canada, so and the school I went to in Nigeria was also not, it was mixed with people from different countries. So I think my parents found it very difficult, especially with me, living up to the expectations that they have of a girl and me dating. And I took it upon myself to communicate my own expectations to my parents. I know that I'm not technically allowed to be dating, but I want you to know my boyfriend. I had to open up to them and be somewhat apathetic to their reaction. Um, as much as they have expectations, I have expectations as well. And my mom said something very interesting one day. There was something that I was finding very difficult to tell her, and she said I should stop managing her emotions for her. Your parents are adults, okay? So it's also your responsibility, as much as they can be hard-headed and close-minded, it's your responsibility to make your own expectations clear to them so that it's, like we said, not putting pressure on you in your relationship, and you're building communication and then carrying them along as you, whether you're dating or in marriage or whatever. So as much as I understand, I agree with you, Philip. Okay, the knowledge gap can definitely be bridged with through communication, and I think that a lot of Africans kind of avoid difficult conversations because they have an expectation of how their parents are going to react, and I don't think that that's helpful to us. I know how my relationship with my parents have has grown
Mm-hmm.
because I let them manage their own emotions. I'm not more responsible for that.
Fact.
My duty is to be honest and present facts, and I let them simmer. And you find that if you do that, eventually they will react, they'll have their tantrum, they'll have their moment, and their
Yes, sir.
brain will reset. So I think, like I was saying, that is our responsibility to bridge the knowledge gap. There are hard conversations that we have to have.
Come say, wait, Philip, one second. Congratulations to your parents and congratulations to you for being that bold, because what you just said is very unique. They're very, like, I could say 1% of African parents that will be able to relate to your parents and be
Mm-hmm.
able to take like that boldness and
Yeah.
actually accept it and move forward. Very high number of African parents are very set in their ways that regardless of how bold you are, your boldness is an insult to them, and they will just listen and it will not change anything. You will go, they will listen, then you move on like nothing ever happened.
Mm.
It's very rare you meet African parents or family members that will be so open, because to them they look at it as in, oh, you are talking to me this way. You are telling me how to live my life. You feel like you can come and talk to me. They look at it as disrespect and not you expressing yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
congratulations to your parents to get to a point where they can accept you going up to them and say, this is my boyfriend, I want you to get to know him, because in their dictionary those words don't exist, and the fact that they are open to adding that word to their dictionary now is really good on you and them.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot have that expectations for the majority of African parents, because they are stuck in their own ways. And I don't know if it's magic or whatever is going to change, or if
Yeah.
maybe they need to live in the Western world a little bit more or get older and be more open minded. But there are just a few like certain things that they will not change their mind on. And that's because maybe it's how they were raised, maybe their own experiences, whatever the experience is what they want us to experience as children going forward. But
Mm-hmm.
it is very rare to have African parents that will let you talk to them and say, I want you to do this for me. I want you to listen to me. Because that is basically you commanding them
Yeah.
to do
And
something.
those, don't get me wrong. And most
Absolutely.
times it will end up with my mom saying I'm disrespecting her, or
Always.
my mom especially getting upset.
Mhm.
So I understand. I do. Like you said, it takes boldness and determination,
And fear.
I'm happy to say too that like I've gotten to a point where I can like talk to my parents. And since I didn't get to experience that when I was a child, I I help my parents, understand my younger ones better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Since I'm married and I'm in my own home, like I have this certain
That
respect.
changes.
Whenever that changes more. Whenever my little siblings come and say, "Oh, mom did this," and I'm my mom. Like, I have the up there to where I can like, mom, you need to chill with this one. Let the kid have it or whatever.
Quick question. Do you feel like African families in general, right? Their lack of parents, their lack of transparency and accepting transparent from their children is creating a culture of lie. Because if they said, we don't believe in dating, you can't date, you can't do this, you do it anyways. Do you tell
The
them?
simple yes,
Or did they create a culture of lie where the children now have to lie to them about things that they could easily communicate with them?
yes,
Yeah.
Yes, because that's how sin came to the world.
Go.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're
Because
if you're
if there was
strict,
no law, there wouldn't be sin.
yeah, if you're strict, if you're not willing to listen and you're just enforcing whatever you're saying, of course I'm gonna start lying if you're not listening to me. I'm gonna say whatever it is to make you happy, while in the background I'm doing whatever makes me happy, which is not a
You
good
lie.
thing.
You lie or you hide. You
You lie
lie.
in their face. You
But
lie in their
absence of
face.
a truth, yeah, absence of a truth is a lie. So you
Yeah,
don't hide. Your thing is lying.
yeah. You lie to their face. It's like, for example, like, instead of, let's say, you're not allowed to be home after 10 p.m. and then you come home after 10 p.m. Hey, Elizabeth, where have you been? Sorry, Dad, I was doing overtime at work, but the whole time you was out. You know what I mean? If you're strict for
Liz,
no reason, if you're not
sorry.
reasonable, of course I'm gonna lie.
Liz, you're gonna probably disagree with me on this as well, but my dad asked me a question. Question is relevant. Okay, I did not want to answer the question. It had to do with whether I've spent the night with my boyfriend. And yeah, obviously I know the expectation. In that moment, do I deny it or am I honest? And I've carried this, I'm going to be honest with my parents. I've carried on my head. So I told my dad, Daddy, I plead the fifth because I don't think you want to know the answer. And that was the end of the conversation. I don't, is that line?
Yeah, well, so you didn't answer the question.
No, I did not answer the question.
But the thing is, I felt your dad's pain hearing something like that because you didn't say no. That means it's a yes because you did, like, yeah, exactly. So in that case, for me, I've actually been in a similar situation, right?
Yeah,
Except it was worse. It was about related to virginity, and it was very uncomfortable. My mother
yeah.
asked me in front of my father, and I gave the answer, the right answer, and that's because I know the relationship I have with my father, and I know he knows when I'm lying. And the thought of lying to him was going to change our relationship
Everything. Yeah.
forever. So now the truth, God, the truth actually did what I thought the lie was going to do. It changed the relationship. Because
Oh my
now,
God.
when you're a daddy's girl, now it's like somebody else, so you're not daddy's girl anymore.
The funny thing is that you don't only put yourself in problem, you also put your boyfriend in problem with some truth. Like, don't go
That's
there.
why that relationship didn't work. But now this is where you have to filter in, right? Like you have to answer the question. If you need to lie to protect them, because that's what they have taught us when they were raising us. You can't do this. But if you do it and you tell the truth, they get disappointed in you. Now you're a bad child and they tell you you can't live in the house. So then, regardless of what you do, regardless of how you answer the questions, if you don't do exactly what they're telling you, you are going against them. You're embarrassing your family name. So now, this is going to be like an ongoing question that will never be answered because there is just no way for us to know how to handle them. And the only answer is to do exactly what they say you should do. But
Mm.
in today's world, at our age, are you comfortable with that?
Like just being straight up.
No,
You
doing exactly what your parents are telling you
no,
to do.
I
Mm-hmm,
think
mm-hmm.
there should be. I'm gonna take just a minute. I was speaking to a friend yesterday. I told you I was the friend I was gonna call. So I was speaking to her yesterday. Yeah, yesterday or 2 days ago. She introduced her boyfriend to her mom, and her mom asked her a question, same thing, and she told her mom the truth. And she told me that why she told her mom the truth was because she felt like there is a level of independence and trust she has built with her mom, that they have trusted her judgment on things. So there are some things there are some level of trust and independence and some level of maturity that your parents know they can trust you with.
Mm-hmm.
So when you tell them the truth at the right time, they will respect that and
Mm-hmm.
they know. So you lying at that time is not going to sit well with them. They expect it from you. So it's
Mm-hmm.
no need for you to lie then. So African proverb says whatever that when the food is ready and you decide to eat, it's not you're not being a glutton at that point. So you've made that's the thing. So I just feel the thing is, if you have developed that reputation and you are grown enough and
Mm-hmm.
you are matured and it's the right time, know when to tell the truth, read the room, and do the right thing. I think, yeah, you should be able to
No,
tell
I
the
agree
truth
with
when it's
you,
special.
Philip. One thing I want to add, like a minute, okay. As much sometimes we comment on our parents or people's emotional intelligence, like, and I think that maybe we also have work to do in terms of our emotional intelligence and maturity, because in with maturity and EQ comes wisdom in knowing how to manage other people's emotions and how to bring up hard conversations. So for me, as much as I wouldn't want to lie, wisdom, EQ will give me the strength to answer their question in a way that does not inflame the situation or make things worse.
But how do you determine when is the right time with African parents? How long do you wait?
Okay, let me say point. Now I'm an independent guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a man of my own. So I can tell my parents some of the if they ask me now, who is this girl I'm with? I'll tell my parents, this is my girlfriend. I'm okay with telling them anything they want to hear without disrespecting them, because they know that I've made some right decision that got me to where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if that has happened when I'm not ready, I'm not matured enough, and I'm trying to tell them, do some things that I know that is against their rules, then that is going to show not only disobedience, it's going to show the waywardness.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some things they cannot trust me with, even at that point. So I think telling the truth, you don't have to tell the truth. Even the Bible even told Abraham, what's his name? Abraham was told to lie. Bible, God told Abraham to lie. Yes, God told him to lie.
When it was
And he said
necessary.
Sarah was his sister
Mm.
just to save him.
Mm-hmm.
God told him that. So if God the Almighty told you to lie to save a situation, who am I not to lie to save a relationship?
You sound like when I said Jesus turned water into wine, so I drink wine. God. Anyways, so thank you for those points. I really appreciate you saying that. But then, you know how in African homes, there's this thing where, like, if you still live with your parents, I feel like the statement you made because you're your own man, like, you live on your own, you have this, like, going for you. Some people cannot relate to that, right? If you were in Africa right now, if you were alone, that means you're married, you have children, and like you're on your own. Most people, you stay in your family's house until you're ready for marriage and all that. Having a girlfriend while living in your parents' house, and then there are certain things that you can communicate with them, right? You can tell them, I have a girlfriend. If they tell you, oh, that's not your girlfriend, you have to agree, or else they're going to kick you out of their house. If you don't listen to what they say, they're going to be like, oh, if you're not listening to what I have to say in my own house, get out and go find somewhere else to go. So at that point, then you are limited to how you're going to respond, how you're going to communicate, the type of things that you can communicate, because you don't want to be put in a position where you're being asked to leave because you have nowhere else to go. And everything that you've done, you went to school, you work, you support them, you help them pay for their house, you help them pay for this, and that. So you haven't set yourself up in a position where if they ask you to leave today, you can leave and go somewhere else. So now, how do you deal with that situation? How do you communicate in a transparent way?
That's the thing. An African proverb says, yeah, it's best said in Igbo, but I'll try and communicate it in English.
Mm-hmm.
He says, there is a way you communicate to a brother, his anger will calm.
Mm-hmm.
So if unfortunately life takes its toll on you, but your parents know that, yes, life has happened. You're of age, it's the right time for you, but this is not working for you. But it's the right time for you to have some certain kind of things to do in life. Just because you're of age doesn't mean you can just do it. I'm not saying that because I'm independent, I can just do anything I like and I will just throw it on their face because they're not feeding me and I'm not no. I can still communicate my decisions and everything I want to do with
Mm-hmm.
respect. If I'm in their house and there are some questions they ask me, there's a way I will have the conversation with them. They will see a reason because they know your age, they have expectation of you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a lady, that's how you communicate with them and have this conversation with them. They will see, and out of respect, and if it's something that is good, if a lady is seeing a guy that she intends to settle with, yes, you can communicate that respectfully to them, and they know you're of age and you know you are doing that with that particular person, and the guy should come from the front door as well, not sneaking and all those sneaking and all stuff even make them look at you with disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can tell them the truth, but as well you have to put up that foundation and you know go through the front door respectfully.
I want to hear what more people have to say. So when you watch this episode, please go ahead and comment and let us know what your experiences are, because there are other people from other parts of Africa that probably have gone through a different experience. I can't wait to hear what other people from other parts of Africa have to say about this, and maybe people from the Western world. They might relate to some of these things because we might be misjudging and saying things are more lenient and more like they're easier on the Western world, but that's because that's what we have seen. But some people have experienced something similar to what we're experiencing as Africans. So I would like to know that as well. So we're going to end it here. Gracie, thank you. You had to leave, but Kamsi and Philip, thank you so much for sharing your opinion and also giving us like some visibility into your own experience while like dating as an African. I'm really grateful that you guys took the time out of your day to kind of join and share your experience. And of course, for the audience, thank you for tuning in. use this as a conversation starter between you, your families, your parents, and also any friends that you have, anyone that is interested in learning about the African experience. Just a key reminder, these are our experiences. That doesn't, we're not speaking on behalf of the whole continent, but it seems like they are very similar. So thank you so much to everyone. Again, this is I Am African podcast. I'm your host, Liz. I will see